Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Good morning to you. It is time for Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan. It is Thursday morning. It's November 2nd. And across the table for me, Mr. Bob Lauder. Good morning to you, Bob.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Good to have you here with us. And my thanks to Dave Richards, who filled in admirably for me yesterday. At least that's what I'm told.
Uh-huh.
So Bob tells me
You were recovering from Halloween?
Yes. It was we had a stampede of kids. We doubled the number of people that came trick-or-treating to my house. We had 2. We doubled it from last year.
Whoa, man. That's kind of pitiful. I mean,
A little lower than Bob's 275. Did you run out of candy?
No, we had a few pieces left over.
Left over. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
But-
I noticed you didn't bring any in, but that's okay.
Hey, you weren't wearing a costume, man.
I'm dressed up like a radio person.
You had 2 people? That is pitiful. I know that you have a reputation, but the word must have really spread if only
I was
2
giving
people
out the
bothered
good.
to come to
I
your
was giving
house.
out the good stuff. I had Snickers and Kit Kats and Baby Ruths. And out of the 3, I think Baby Ruths are my favorites.
My wife had suggested that I might want to give away some of the books, and I was
Everybody
thinking,
gets a book.
some 2 kids come to the house, and one little guy says, "Wow, I got Snickers and I got Reese's." And the other guy says, "I got a history of the Peloponnesian War."
Yeah, I know.
I mean, geez, that's not going to
Not a good
gonna
idea.
Go.
It might just come flying back through your window. So I would not suggest that.
Good,
But,
good.
but I'm glad it went well.
Yes,
so,
it was,
glad
and
to have,
kids
had a
had
lot of kids.
fantastic costumes. Almost
they-
all of them were dressed up, and
That's
they were.
great.
It was a lot of fun. I
Good.
enjoyed that day.
Well, that's fantastic. Our congratulations to the Texas Rangers, Bob. They won the World Series last night, 4-1. They
And
beat
you see the deer in the headlight look.
They won. They beat the Arizona Diamondbacks. First time in their history of being a franchise, of being a team. First time they've won. So that's always nice.
Great.
54 years. I forget how long they've been in existence. It's the first time they've won. So
Wow.
good for them. Arizona won it back in 2000, so can't feel too bad for them. And an ex-Boston Red Sox player was on the team for Texas. So
I remember when I
feeling
was
good all the way around.
in 6th grade at Providence Street School, where some kid in the class had smuggled in a tiny little transistor radio.
When the games were played in the afternoons.
Yeah, and wanted to listen to it. Yeah.
Did the teacher confiscate it?
No, I think my recollection is we listened to it.
Oh, all right. Yeah, put it on.
Yep.
That's a good teacher right there.
Yes.
All right. I used to have a teacher, 9th grade teacher. This happened on opening day. He always wheeled in a TV he got from the library, because opening day the games always start like at 1:00, and he wanted to see opening day.
Wow.
All right, game's on. So thanks, Mr. Dubois, who took care of that. All right, so this is odd, Bob. It is my daughter, as you know, is a senior in high school, and now is college. It's college applying season.
Okay.
Now's the time you apply to colleges. Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, yesterday was like a cutoff date if you want to like early enrollment or something like that. But they still accept college applications. She got hers in on last Sunday in October, so just before Halloween. Sent them in. Sent them to 7 schools.
Okay.
She applied to 7. Okay, that's fine. And since then, something happened before she applied, and then 2 things happened after she applied. 3 out of the 7 schools have had some kind of physical altercation go on, either on campus or near campus.
Wow.
The first one was Fitchburg State. One of the female students was sexually assaulted by another male student in the school library.
Wow.
And she applied there. Mm-hmm. The second one was Worcester State. They had 2 people who were not students on campus in their parking garage. One shot the other. Kid died.
Oh, my goodness.
They are still looking for the shooter. Haven't found him yet. And the latest one was yesterday. Oh, she applied to Worcester State. The last one was yesterday. Salem State, up in Salem, Mass. The freshman men's basketball player shot and killed, not on campus, but very close to campus nearby.
Wow.
Like, and that kid's from Worcester. And the old adage is, nothing good happens after midnight.
Yeah.
He was found at like 1:30 in the morning in a car, shot.
Wow.
I'm like, 3 out of the 7 schools she applied to have all within the last 2.5 weeks, something major has happened on the campus, where it's
I think you should write to
disheartening.
the other 4 schools and warn them.
something's coming.
Yeah.
Because Jocelyn applied there.
Right.
Maybe we'll see.
That's tragic to have that kind
It
of
is.
violence. I don't think it's just the fact that it's more publicized now than it may have been 5 or 10 years ago, but it seems there's a lot more violence in society and at schools than there was 5 or 10 years ago. And I don't know what the answer would be to try and combat it.
I don't know. The story we got: a freshman at the Salem State University on the Salem State University basketball team is dead following a shooting. 18-year-old Carl Hans Billiard was shot early yesterday morning inside a vehicle on Forest Avenue in Salem. This would have been early yesterday, actually from early Monday morning. Inside a vehicle on Forest Avenue in Salem. He died a short time later. Forest Avenue is not on campus. Billiard was a member of the Worcester North High School basketball team that won the state championship earlier this year. Police arrested 18-year-old Michelle Pena Canelia of Salem last night, charged him with his murder. So they caught that guy. Well,
Jeez.
they haven't convicted him, but he's been caught. So
Wow.
why was he out that late? What was he doing there? What's he doing in the car? All those questions haven't been answered yet, but it's just like, wow.
It is. And I saw one of the, I think it was a quotation that was attributed to Johnson, the new Speaker of the House of Representatives, saying that a lot of this is dependent upon mental illness and how people feel about things, and it's not necessarily involving gun control. I know that gun control is a red-hot topic on a lot of people, but I would think that the response that was made that other countries have people with mental issues and don't have the same problems does reflect on the fact that a lot of assault weapons that are more militarily targeting than the normal weapons for recreation are available, and I really think that there should be some type of resolution on that issue of having heavy assault weapons available to individuals.
The issue up in Maine, that's a mental health issue. I think the issue down in Worcester and Salem, I don't think it's a mental health issue. Especially the one in Worcester, the police have said the two got into an argument earlier in the evening, and this is how some people settle their differences now.
Well, and
I'm so mad at you. I'm not mentally ill. I'm just so mad at you. I'm shooting you.
That may be a form of mental illness too. I mean, you're not able to
Maybe.
control your anger.
But you say that. But let's say that if the shooter in Maine did not kill himself and they
Right.
caught him, his defense would have been he didn't know what he was doing. You think? Is that a
It's-
fair assumption?
He didn't know the difference between right and wrong. Yes.
Okay, so there's a mental illness. This case in Worcester, where you say it might be a mental illness, where he went out and shot him, I don't think the same thing would have been. He wouldn't be declared unfit for trial. And if when they do catch him, they probably will have him stand trial. Same thing with the guy in Salem. They won't use the whole mental illness defense. They'll say he knew exactly what he was doing and he did it. Yeah, maybe not premeditated, but
They may use the argument that the level of anger which he experienced was such that he was not able to determine whether or not he was doing right or wrong when he fired the weapon.
oh, I don't believe that at all, Bob. I mean, it's a good.
Yeah.
Yes, you can use that as a defense, but if I'm there, Sue is here. Yay! If I'm sitting on the jury, I'm just inside. I'm just shaking my head back and forth.
Man, if I see
Nope,
you in
nope,
the
nope,
jury
nope,
panel,
nope.
I'm using one of my preemptive rights to, have someone else considered. You look fantastic. What a great outfit.
Nice to see you, Sue. Now this is funny. On a bit of a side note, my I don't know if I told you, my daughter turned 18 at the end of September. All right, middle of October, she got her very first jury summons.
Whoa.
And she's like, what? I'm a kid. I'm like, not in the eyes of the law, you're not anymore. And so we look. I said, well, Mass, they do it a little different than Rhode Island. I said, let's take a look, and maybe you can be
exempt.
exempt.
Right.
Okay. And there's like 15 things, and one of them is, if you're over 70, you don't have to. That was
Okay.
one. Over 70. All right. You're taking care of somebody, and you can't be away from them. That's another one. You run your. No, that wasn't one. There were a few others, but nowhere in Massachusetts does it say I'm a student and cannot be on a
Right.
jury. It just does not say that. So So she was picked to go. And she had to go to. Luckily, she didn't have to go down and New Bedford or Fall River because we're part of
Right.
that county. She would have to go to Taunton. All right, that's a lot better, a lot closer. But she was supposed to go. They picked her date as January 8th, 8:30 in the morning. She goes, I have school. I'm in high school. In Mass, you're allowed to take a look at your date and say, nah, that doesn't work for me. I can pick another date.
Okay.
Up to a year. You can go all the way to January 8th of 2025, basically. So I said, this is what you're going to have to do. Pick a date in the summer when you don't have school.
Great.
And that's what she picked.
Now
Now she's going to go July 11th. I think that's the date we picked.
She must have also registered to vote.
Well,
right?
yes.
That's how they
That's how they-
select the people for
When
jury
she
duty.
went to get her driver's license, it's all part of the same thing. Okay, you're getting your driver's license, and you want to be an organ donor. Oh, and do you want us to sign you up so you can vote? Well, yeah, I definitely want to vote. Okay, check that box off. It never says anything. You're now on the voter jury
Right.
list, but now she is. And I said the problem with this now, Jocelyn, is once you get picked, because it's happened to me, it's happened to my wife. In Mass, it's every 3 years you can go.
Okay.
And it is like clockwork that I get the next one. And once you're in the system, every 3 years it comes.
Now, have you ever been selected to be on a jury?
Never. I've gone to Fall River. I've gone to New Bedford a couple of times. When I lived in another county, I went to Dedham, and I've never been called.
There's a lot of astute attorneys out there. This only verifies
That's
that
what
fact.
I told her. I said, you got to go there and look as scared as you can be.
Right.
And so they won't. And the good lawyers will, depending on the case, but the good lawyers will look at you and say, we don't want the kid.
Probably. Yeah.
You've got to go. We want someone, 30s, 40s, someone a lot more mature than you, mature looking than
Right.
you. So just don't worry. I'm pretty sure, can't be 100%, but that they will not pick you.
Okay.
Would you pick an 18-year-old?
Probably not.
All right.
No.
So there you go. Depending on, no matter what the case is.
I can't imagine a case. No, not someone
Either
that
male or
young.
female, they're
Right.
just too young.
Yes.
And so I said, yeah, Jocelyn, you're 18, and in the eyes of the law, you're an adult. And her mother, of course, is pounding the table. No. I said, she's got to go.
You know what happened though? An adult walked into the room with us.
Yes.
We ought to probably tell people who she is.
Oh, this is her. It's Sue Tessier
good
McKenzie,
morning.
everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here with us today.
Got my edition of the Call and Times.
The Call-in Times.
The Blackstone Valley's calling.
Ah.
Yes.
Masthead looks nice.
It does. And it was a situation where we wanted
See that at the bottom?
for
Yeah.
people to know that it is Call and Times.
Yeah.
So it looks beautiful, actually.
Call and Times, nice big font.
Yep.
It really stands out, and that's great. And I like the little logo
Yes.
in the middle. I know the Call Tom Cryer guy is not there anymore, but that's fine.
Well, we had the town crier, and then we also had the lighthouse for,
Yeah.
because we are a Rhode Island Media Group.
Yeah. Okay.
And so we have the lighthouse logo as well. But for the Call and Times,
You got the like a 3/4 cog wheel.
yep.
Is basically
with the
it,
river.
and with a river, with the Blackstone River through it. So I love that's great. And you got both times, both years of when the Call and the Times were started.
Yep.
1892 for the Call, 1885 for the Times, and you got both websites on there as well. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
When I go to
think-
Pawtucket, I see the building that has the big Times sign on the side of it.
Yes.
Are you still using that building
No.
as well?
It's empty,
That
isn't
building, well, we sold that one as well. The elevators were broken on that one.
Oh, okay.
And, it's funny because when I started the job, I've been with the company almost 17 years now, and we went to that building for a meeting, and it was just amazing, the size of the building. I think it's bigger than the call building, as far as the interior-wise, what we actually utilized in the building. And, but the elevators weren't working. And, now you're getting into the historical side of things, and then the
Yeah.
Historical Society, well, you can't do this and you can't do that. We
Have they always been in
couldn't-
that building, the Times?
As far
on
as
Exchange
I
Street?
know,
Yeah.
as far as I know.
Okay, so then you are dealing with historical stuff now.
Exactly. So it become, and even right here at the call, when when they tore down the ceilings, and you look up and you can still see the metal, the metal ceilings that were ornamental,
Yep.
decorative ceiling tiles. You see all of that. So over the years, as things improve, for lack of a better word, all of that stuff is still under there. There are ceiling light fixtures underneath the drop ceiling.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool, when they started doing that, you can see all of the historical side of it.
So does all that stuff have to be preserved? Because
Some
it's
of it
historical?
does. We've been working very closely with the Historical Society. As a matter of fact, they were in again Friday. Taking some of, back in the day, we had our morgue, is what they call it, and we had books made of the papers. So you might get, the month of May in, 1922 is in one of these giant books. So you can read all the news from then. Well, obviously we want to preserve those, but obviously we didn't have the space for them anymore. Historical Society took pretty much all of them. So between the Pawtucket and the call side, that's where those are. So those have been preserved. And I'm sure other things that they've come in and said, hey, that should be preserved or that should be preserved, that they have, which is nice.
Okay. We'll take our first break here on the Coffee and program. Comments and questions can be called in at 401-766-1240.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with RE/MAX Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
It is Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Before we get to Scott McGee's listing, we're with Bob Lauder and Sue Tessier McKenzie from the Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times. Do you have a nice message for the Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times?
Well, yes, always a nice message. So the, for those of you that don't know, we have combined the Call and the Times, the Woonsocket Call and the Pawtucket Times, which we've owned both for many, 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 many years. And now we finally decided to combine the two. There will always be hiccups, but so far, nothing that I've heard of. I mean, granted, it's only November 2nd, and this only went into effect yesterday. But yes, so far so good. Everything seems to be going well. If you're looking for delivery, if you're having a problem getting back issues, you can call my cell phone, 487-4136. There will be a delay in that, however, because officially today, everything will be moved out and construction will be going full steam ahead.
Wow.
So I will not be going to the office to bring in papers. They will not be delivered here. But if anybody needs something, by all means, still call me, and I can put them aside for you once we do get them. Hopefully it'll be a quick process, and we'll be in there soon.
All right, very good there, Sue. All right, Scott McGee has got a listing for us today. This is a single-family home, 22 Arnold Avenue in North Smithfield, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1321 on the square feet for $389,900. There we can see the outside of the house. Let's see if we can. The computer's kind of running kind of slow this morning, so there's a. Well, we don't want that. You don't need that up there. Come on, there we go. There's a good, nice shot of the outside of the house. What are you? Is that a 2-car garage or a 1-car garage and a carport?
Looks like a carport
Yeah.
to the left.
Yeah,
But the
there's
garage itself looks pretty wide. So
Is that
maybe
one or
it's
2?
cars.
Maybe that's pretty nice. Nice porch on the front of the house. A brick on the front and siding on the side. All right, let's see what else we got with this one. There's the shot of the carport and the garage again. And here we are on the inside. There's a look at the kitchen, stove, and the island counter right there in the middle of the kitchen with the fridge and the stove and the microwave and the cabinets and like that. Eating area right off from the kitchen. Stairs going upstairs to the rest of the house. Another look at the kitchen there. There's the stairs. Nice wood stairs, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that nice? The bathroom was off to the side, so there's a bathroom downstairs and upstairs. There's a look at the eating area. I don't think the hutches come with the house, so. Living area in front of the brick in the fireplace. Pretty nice stuff. Get a hold of Scott McGee. He's listing this one's 22 Arnold Arnold Avenue, I should say, in North Smithfield, $389,900 for this number in North Smithfield. All right, very nice.
I'm not familiar with Arnold Avenue. Where's that located?
I'm not sure.
Ah.
Got me an
Well,
off
I'll
street.
find out for you.
I mean, off street.
Oh, whoa!
We did get a note that was called in. Sorry, Bob. Sports. Just someone having a bit of fun, bit of complaining. Football referees. This past weekend was pretty bad, both on the college side and on the pro side of phantom calls and non-calls. So they're
Could it explain to the dummy what are phantom calls and non-calls?
let's say I'm going up against Sue, and I'm trying to catch the ball, and she bangs into me and knocks me down before the ball gets there. Well, that would be pass interference. If they don't make the call, it's a phantom call. They didn't call anything.
Okay.
And then
The referees didn't call. Okay.
Well, that's
Everybody
no. That's
knows.
I'm sorry. I got it backwards. That would be a non-call.
All right.
Sue banged into me. They didn't call anything. That's a non-call. Phantom call is when they think something happened, or they imagine something happened. They throw the flag, but nothing really happened. That's a phantom call. All right. Football's great and exciting game to watch, but now when you wonder if there's going to be a flag thrown, now you're concerned about the refs controlling the game instead of paying attention to the games and the players. So the NFL must install crucial times during a game when they review all calls. That'll just make the game go for 5 or 6 hours.
Right.
If you do this. Never seen so many terrible calls and non-calls from this past weekend. The present rules just ain't working. Well, they do review some calls, but not all calls. But you don't want to slow the game down too much. You want to keep it going.
Yeah, right.
But I agree. And not that the Patriots should have won on Sunday, but there were some pretty bad calls that went against the Patriots on Saturday. And you hate to say, oh, the refs blew it for us. No, we blew it ourselves. But it was pretty bad that things were happening. So
As Bob's sitting here looking at you like
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bob knows.
it just doesn't affect him at all.
I did see the article though about the spying on the other team's signals.
Yeah.
Now, hadn't that come up years ago
Yes.
with
Yes, with the
other
Patriots.
teams?
Came up with
Right.
the
Okay.
Patriots.
It sounded familiar.
I don't know why it's a big deal. This has been going on since signals were started.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
You're taught as a kid when you're mostly up into high school, try to steal the other team's signals so we know
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
Makes sense.
I know, and I don't know why people. Foul! Oh, you're cheating. No, that was part of the game.
Yeah.
That was part of it. Could we steal the other team's
But I
signals?
think the last one wasn't that about actually seeing their charts. There was something. It was a little more in depth than just signals. I
I
think.
don't know. I don't remember.
I'd have to.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, but back to Arnold
Yes.
Ave.
Yeah.
That is off Woonsocket Hill Road.
Oh, okay.
There you go. When you're heading down to the beef barn.
Yep.
Nice area.
You'd be over there. Okay, nice. Well, on the front page of today's Blackstone Valley Calls and Times, pretty bad fire in Pawtucket yesterday. It killed an 83-year-old disabled woman, which is really, really sad. And a couple of police officers were able to drag 2 other people off the
Yeah.
fire escape.
Wow.
They were in the upper floors. So
Yeah, 3 floors, and it was quick. They
it's a
said.
great picture on the front page of
Oh,
the
my
call,
goodness.
and how the roof, partial roof collapse.
Yeah, I believe that was John
Did they-
Baker that did
Took
this.
that
Did they
picture?
know what
Yep.
was the cause of the fire?
Not yet.
Okay.
Kind of soon, but by the time they got there, fully going,
Jeez.
and so the heat collapsed, part of the roof. Luckily, no firefighters were on top of it when it collapsed, but it is very sad that the woman and a volunteer, not a volunteer, but a passerby, tried to get in to save her.
That
But
takes courage.
It does take courage, but man, if you're not ready for it, the smoke and the heat is really overbearing.
Wow.
And it is just gonna. And he had to leave. Yeah, I can't find her fast enough,
Right.
and now it's overpowering him. So what do you do?
Yeah,
Wow.
You leave. And
that's all. That's it. That's all you
and
can
then
do.
you can try to tell the firefighters when you get there, hey, there's somebody in there.
Yep.
So
I would imagine the passerby must have been familiar with the structure and known there was
I think
somebody there.
When he got up and either broke a window or something, he could hear her,
Oh.
knowing someone was calling for help.
Oh,
Okay,
golly.
someone's in there. I'm going to go in and try to find him. But if you've ever been in that situation, smoke is incredibly thick, and you can't see your hand in front of your face. And if it's a house you've never been in, you don't know where to go,
Right.
and you're just blind.
Yeah.
And then the heat's getting to you in the smoke.
Still takes a lot of courage to.
Even try.
Yes.
Even try.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Gabe Amo and Gary Leonard. I keep forgetting how to
Leonard.
say his name.
Right.
Leonard going to face each other in debates tonight and tomorrow, which is odd because the voting is next week or this coming Tuesday,
Yeah.
and mail ballots have already started coming in. People
Yes.
have already before they've even debated. People have already made up their mind.
Well, there's
Well,
been a lot.
they've had an opportunity to listen and see and
Oh, you didn't read up on them.
yeah, it was my next thing. Read up and
Mm-hmm.
so those people they're already convinced.
Yep. I don't know who's doing the polling, but they say that Gabe has a double-digit lead on
That's what I
Leonard
heard,
right
too.
now.
Well, the state is considered to be pretty much a safe democratic state.
Yeah.
So I would think that's not surprising.
No.
See what happens in the debates.
And Gabe has got a ton more money than Leonard does.
There was an article in I think it was one of the other papers, about the campaign, and it was saying that the Republican National Committee had not really supported Leonard to this extent that
Really?
one might think they should, and that some of the commercials that had been run for him earlier in the season had indicated that he was running against a different candidate. They were using old commercials
Wow.
instead of something new for the man. So, much as I may or may not deplore certain people in politics, I would think that your national committee, if they're assisting you, would be a little bit more observant and know who you're running against.
Well, as they say, and I've heard it from a few different people in the National Front, that the Republican Party is just in disarray.
I would think that
and
that's
they can't
pretty
get out of their own way.
evident from what's going on in the Congress down in Washington. Yeah.
Yeah. So, are they going to worry about who's running for Congress in little old Rhode Island?
Probably
Right.
not, but
That's right.
You know, if you're running as a member of that party, I think you expect a little bit more attention from the party than sending out commercials that have you
Yeah.
apparently running against somebody who's
Somebody else.
not your real challenger.
Yeah, that's bad. All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. So, Sue, time for your second message from the Blackstone Valley's Call and Times.
Well, if you're looking to see who won the Best in Business, the special section came out over the weekend, in the weekend edition on Saturday. And there are quite a few interesting facts in there. So if you're interested in getting that, if you want to get a back issue, by all means, give me a call at 487-4136. Otherwise, you can go to the website, and all the winners are listed right there.
Very good, Sue. Thanks. And we'll take a look at the forecast right now, being brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Sunny skies today with a high of 46 degrees and a calm wind. Tonight, mostly clear skies, overnight low of 30. Friday's weather sunny with a high of 56. Saturday, sunshine and 60. Sunday, sunshine and 59. Monday, partly sunny and 59. Tuesday, a 40% chance of a shower, mostly cloudy and a high of 61. And on Saturday, a 40% chance of rain, partly sunny and 54.
Currently outside the Navigate Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with sunny skies. We have hit the freezing mark, 32 degrees. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Hi, I'm Kathy LaValle at The Honey Shop. Check out our Facebook page at The Honey Shop RI, and there you'll see a whole list of our new classes and lots of fun things to do. You could join us for making limoncello, pizzas, pasta making, cheese making, so many fun things to do and learn.
Thanks, Kathy. Folks, if you love food, you'll love the Honey Shop, right behind the Dunkin' Donuts at Park Square in Woonsocket.
Hey, it's ON Radio's Cruisin' Bruce Palmer inviting you to join me for the Saturday Block Party. It's every Saturday from 4 until 7 p.m. when we fill the airwaves with the songs you want to hear. It's a party in every sense of the word, so join me live on 99.5 and 1240 a.m. or bring the show with you wherever you go at onworldwide.com.
It is Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Bob Lauder, Sue Tessier McKenzie from the Call and Times. And we're being joined by John Palachek. Did I say that right, John?
You did.
All right. Fire Marshal here in this city of Woonsocket. We're going to get to John in just a second. But Bob, it's your time. First message from your law office, please.
Great, thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. Many years ago, my mother-in-law used to use the word méchant to describe someone who was deliberately mischievous. At least that's what she told me the word meant.
Is that what she called you, Bob?
Yes. Today, I'd like to be méchant and to be aggravating to Diana by talking about cases involving clocks, and not the drudgingly boring clock of the old advertisement, but a couple of other cases. The first reference in the Rhode Island State Supreme Court dates back to 1883 and is known as the case of Littlefield versus Mott. It began when John Payne signed a deed in 1853 conveying a parcel of land located on Block Island to his son and his heirs and assigns absolutely and forever, and then went on to contain wording that if the son should die without having any lawful heirs, the property should pass to John's daughters. Thereafter John died, leaving a last will and testament. And under the will he provided that he bequeathed to his son all his previously mentioned real estate, as well as a clock and a desk, for the special purposes that they should be sold and the proceeds used to procure and place a grave site with a decent gravestone. After John's death, litigation arose. It wasn't about the clock and desk, sorry, Diana, but rather about the land. The land had been sold by the son prior to the son's death, and the children of one of John's daughters filed a claim that they owned the land. The issue before the Supreme Court was whether or not the deed of 1853 granted to the son an absolute interest in the land or merely a life estate. The Rhode Island Supreme Court ruled that the wording after conveying the real estate to the son and his heirs and assigns absolutely and forever did not constitute a remaindment interest, and the attempt of John to fetter the grant with a condition repugnant to it was null and void. If you'd like to discuss legal matters with me, please call my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob, but the question is, the man bequeathed the desk and the clock to his son, saying that they have to be sold in order to get money to put up a decent gravestone.
Right.
What if the son doesn't do that? Who enforces what's supposed to be done in the will? What if he sells it and keeps the money for himself?
Okay. Under present circumstances, if you had a will like that and it went to probate court, when you come to the end of an estate, you have two ways in which to close it down. One is by an affidavit of complete administration, where the executor, the person nominated in the will to actually take charge of the assets of the deceased and dispose of them according to the terms of the will, says to the court, I did everything right. But the more frequent use is to have a first and final accounting. And in the accounting, you'd have to show, okay, I had the desk and clock. I've sold the desk and clock for $5. I used the $5 to buy a gravestone and put it on the gravesite of the deceased. If he didn't do it, I would imagine that any of the other heirs could come forward and say, hey, he didn't fulfill the terms of the will, and therefore he should be sanctioned as a result of it.
Okay, because I always wondered in my own family, I had a great aunt, lived down in Fall River. When she passed away,
Lizzie Borden?
no.
I'm
Don't
sorry,
laugh at
I
Sue.
just the connection of your family and Fall River.
But
Okay.
she left $1,000 to a flower shop
Okay.
for the express purpose for them to deliver flowers to her gravesite and her husband's for like a year.
Okay.
None of us live in Fall River.
Right.
None of us have any reason to go to Fall River. We have absolutely no idea if this flower shop ever completed what was asked of them.
Well,
This is years ago. We certainly can't go back.
Right,
but
right.
in
try to
that
find
case,
out.
it would have been, I would have thought it was virtually a contract. And
Mm-hmm.
if the flower shop failed to fulfill the terms of the bequest or the contract, then they could be held liable for misappropriation of assets. Yeah.
Because we would always ask each other, hey, who's checking on them?
Right.
No one.
And what they should have done
Yeah.
is take a picture of it at the gravesite and send
Send
it
it
to
to somebody.
whoever the executor of the will is. Now they know that they fulfilled
That they're
their end
doing
of
it.
the- Yep.
Possibly. So I'm like, yeah, I wonder about little things like that. But anyway, John's not here to talk about that. Unless you are, John.
He's got much better things than talk about flowers at a grave.
Yeah, that's so true. So John, who are you gonna vote for? No, I'm kidding.
I don't vote in the Eastern District, so
No?
I'm not even included in that.
Oh, so you don't live for the congressional candidates?
No,
For Gabe and Jerry? Oh, then who do you...
I'm in the other district.
Oh, okay. So do you have an opinion? I'm kidding.
You're in dangerous ground there, man. It's like
I have lots of opinions.
All right. So being fire marshal, how about this fire in Pawtucket?
I know nothing about it other than what I just read. I knew
Okay.
we actually sent one of our rescue trucks went down there to assist yesterday. I don't know much more about the fire.
If this took place here in Woonsocket, is this something that you would be called to try to figure out what started it?
We would be called, and definitely a fire of this caliber, we'd bring the state fire marshal's office would come in as well. They would ultimately take it over.
Yeah.
They have more resources to go to on that. We would assist as well, but what I was thinking, I don't know anything about what they speculate is the cause or anything, but now we're getting, as everybody knows, I had to wait for my car to defrost this morning before I could come here. So there's going to be a lot of people going to be using the alternative heating sources now, whether it be go from the space heaters in an apartment right down to wood stoves, fireplaces. So this is the time for a little more caution and preparation.
And always a dangerous people using their stove
Their stove and their oven.
as a heat source,
Yep.
not a cooking source.
Back when I was a kid, they used to have gas-on-gas stoves, which could actually heat a small area
I
as
had
well
one
as
of those.
cooking. Do they still
They're,
sell
they're
those?
still out. I don't know if they sell them, but
I don't
they're
think
still
so.
out there.
Okay.
In apartments, we come across them every now and then. Not that there's been a problem with them, but you see them from time to time. We're in a lot of residences in our office because when there's a real estate sale, we inspect the smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. So you still see it's in a lot of apartment buildings.
Right, that's what I recall.
Yeah.
They don't sell them, to the best of my knowledge, because I had to have one replaced about 5 years ago, and it was
Did you
great.
go look? Did you go looking for one?
No, the property owner did,
Oh, okay.
and because we're going to replace it, so it's trying to
Yeah.
replace with what we have, and they couldn't. She couldn't get that, so now
couldn't
it's an
find it.
electric stove, and so yeah.
Well, some of the issues with those is these old apartment buildings that were built before the turn of the last century now. That's the only heating source that they have. You see them. They may or may not be insulated, but there's no other heating system in that building because they all heat off of that one kitchen unit. So there's no baseboard heat, no forced hot air. So if you don't have that, they have to come up with another method of heating that apartment as well.
Okay. We don't know if that was a situation here in Pawtucket or if it's just a cooking accident or
No,
or
I'll
a smoking
read about it.
device
Yeah.
of some sort. You just don't know. By the time the firefighters got to the fire, the whole thing was up in flames. So
Yeah.
So in this case, how long do you think it will take as part of the investigation to find out what might have started it?
It could go anywhere from almost immediate to down to a few days. They might have to go back. By the time it was safe for them to go and investigate, it might have been getting a little darker out. So they might have waited until today. They would just secure the scene, whether the owner of the building uses private security or they have a police officer. They would secure the scene until it's available to them today in the daylight hours. But it could take a couple of days.
Okay.
A lot of times the state will take samples of some type, and they might have to send them down to URI to be tested or something. They do have one dog that works with one of the state investigators, and
What are they trying to sniff out?
usually accelerants
Okay.
is. I'm not sure what that particular dog is certified for. Definitely accelerants, and sometimes they have explosives as well. It depends on, what they're looking for and what that dog and that handle have been trained for.
All right. In terms of this house, and you can see that partial of the roof has collapsed. If they go back in and put a new roof on, is it up to you as the fire marshal, or does the state go in and certify that it's okay to be occupied again?
That would go through the city's building department.
Okay. Do you have a say? Do you, as the fire marshal, have any say? in
We
this?
we check in after that. We have inspections, like it would be any like any new house at that point. It would have to come up to the newest codes.
So fire, like smoke alarms on every floor and things like that.
Nowadays, it'd be a smoke alarm in every sleeping area, every potential sleeping area sometimes, and smoke and carbon monoxide protection outside of the sleeping areas. And they can still put carbon monoxide in the sleeping areas as well. We certainly would never try and steer somebody away from overprotecting. I shouldn't say overprotecting, but well protecting themselves.
I can understand that, but it's funny in my situation. I have 2 bedrooms on my second floor. So there's a smoke detector in one bedroom, smoke detector in the other bedroom, smoke detector in the hallway. They're within 5 feet of each
Oh,
other.
they are. They are.
I said, this doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Well, it
They're
makes a
all
lot of sense
hardwired in.
because the door could be closed.
Yeah, good.
And what they, because they're hardwired, when one of them, and including the ones downstairs,
Yeah, when
if
one
they're
goes off,
hardwired,
they all go
They
off.
all go off, so it's an earlier warning for that
Yeah.
sleeping person.
It's
Can
just
you
funny, it's
go
funny
back
to see
to
5 feet.
that
and
just a
3
bit?
of them.
Ordinary residential house here in Woonsocket, what is the standard that they have to maintain for smoke detectors right now?
There are various codes by the year the house was built.
Okay.
So anything built before 1976, which is a least stringent code, would be smoke and carbon monoxide protection within the vicinity, which we use as 21 feet now, depending on the decibels, which is the sound that is put out by the device, within a sleep area. And then
Okay.
at least on every level, smoke and carbon monoxide. But at 1976, they started requiring hardwired detection in the houses. But by today's standard, if a new house or a house that underwent a lot of renovation, over 50%, they would have to come up to today's code, which is smoke and carbon monoxide protection outside of the sleep areas, smoke detectors in the sleep areas, any room with an alternative fuel burning device, so would have to have smoke and carbon monoxide protection. So that would be anything with the gas space heaters, the gas fireplaces, wood stoves, fireplaces.
But on the pre-1976 properties, the residential could still be the battery-operated smoke and carbon monoxide detectors?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take another break here on the Coffee AM program. More coming your way, but it's time for your second message from Bob Lauder's law office, please.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. The second Rhode Island Supreme Court case involving a clock is that of Davy versus Davy, and it arose 98 years after the first case. The Davy case involved an order of child support issued by the Rhode Island Family Court. In the Davy case, the mother of the minor children brought litigation in the family court, seeking to hold the father in contempt for failing to pay a court-ordered child support. The order had been entered 2 years earlier by agreement between the mother, who was represented by an attorney, and the father, who was representing himself. The father defended the allegation of non-payment by claiming that when the original order was entered, the father did not have legal counsel, and that the terms were unfavorable to him. However, when questioned about his income and assets, the judge remarked that it sounds to me that you're better off today than you were in June of 1979. And the attorney for the father replied, in theory, Your Honor, you're right. Acting on those facts, the judge refused to amend the child support order, and the father took an appeal to the Rhode Island Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, after reviewing the facts, held that when an individual is attempting to secure a change in a child support order, it is the responsibility of the moving party by a fair preponderance to show that subsequent to the entry of the decree, a change of circumstances or conditions occurred, and that once such a showing is made, the trial court must reflect a reasonable relationship between the current needs of the child and the father's present ability to pay. In the present case, the fact that the father was not represented by counsel at the time he agreed to an unfavorable child support order was not sufficient to secure a change of the order when the financial circumstances of the father remained the same. Now, the issue about the clock? When the mother brought the case before the court, the trial justice appointed a special master to take possession of a grandfather clock owned by the father and appraised at a value of $2,500. The clock was placed into storage, and after the mother paid the storage charges, she was entitled to receive the clock, and the total amount of the arrearage on the father's unpaid child support was reduced by the remaining value of the clock minus the storing fees. If you'd like to discuss legal matters with me, please call my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer: the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
That's one nice clock, Bob. $2,500.
Yeah.
Made out of gold?
I don't know.
All right, more Coffee and coming up. Stay tuned. At the turn of this century, 27% of people who passed away were cremated. By the year 2020, that figure rose to 56%. The Cremation Association of America projects that by the year 2040, 4 out of 5 Americans will choose cremation over a casket burial. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center of Woonsocket can answer your questions about the cremation process. Go online to providencecremation.com. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center on Spring Street, Woonsocket. Let them create the perfect service for your loved one. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center.
Hi, this is Yvette Houle. Holy Trinity Parish Christmas Bazaar and Craft Fair is Saturday, November 4th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the Parish Hall, 1371 Park Avenue, which is handicap accessible. Come browse the many gifts, crafts, and much more. There will be gift certificate raffle, split the pot, theme baskets, baked goods, and special raffles. Visit Santa, give him your wish list, and take photos with the children. There will also be a children's craft area to keep the children busy while the parents shop. Kitchen will be open for lunch and will include the popular dynamites, meatball sandwiches, hamburgers, hot dogs, fries, onion rings, and Venus de Milo soup. For further information, contact me, Yvette Houle, at 766-5663.
You can depend on us for public service. Owen Radio.
All right, it is Coffee and on Owen Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Bob Lauder, Sue Tessier McKenzie. We're also being joined by John Polacek, Fire Marshal here in the city of Woonsocket. I'm just looking at a story, John. There was a truck fire in Providence that happened about 5 o'clock this morning. Flames called vinyl siding on a nearby house to melt, so that's a pretty decent fire. Are you called out as the fire marshal for cars and trucks that catch on fire?
We do get called for vehicle fires as well, yes.
Try to determine what took place?
Yes, and that's difficult, not having any expertise in automotive or anything. But you can usually determine it to the motor compartment, or if it was something that happened in the passenger compartment. Once again, the state may come as well if it's difficult. A lot of times, if you have an older vehicle that doesn't have insurance, then you're less apt to think that it was suspicious or anything like that.
What kind of training do you need to become the fire marshal and make these decisions?
We initially take a fire inspector class through the State Fire Academy and the State Fire Marshal's office, and then you continue on with added tutorials and classes. We do monthly trainings with all the fire marshals in the state. We have an association, a monthly meeting, and there are different topics that they train on and update us on. There's a website that's run by the International Association of Arson Investigators, which we all become members of as well, and they have training sessions online that we can take and test them, and so
Great, good.
Once you become a fire marshal, are you done fighting fires for the city of Woonsocket, or can you do both? We're going to fight the fire for a little while here. Okay, it's under control, or it's out, and now you switch roles. Now I become fire marshal.
Yeah, no, we're assigned to this office. Everybody is a firefighter, is or was an EMT as well. Right now, we can work added shifts on a truck if there's an opening.
Okay.
So I had one night I was working on a truck, and then they called somebody in to replace me on the truck, and then I had to join the state people with the house fire. But there's 3 of us. We have 2 captains in our office, and myself, I'm a lieutenant, and plus we also have a fire alarm superintendent who's been certified through the same classes that we took. So there's 1 fire marshal and 2 assistant fire marshals. So one of the captains is the actual fire marshal.
Okay.
When you said about firefighters and EMTs, do all firefighters have to become EMTs?
They do.
Wow.
And they have to go up to the top level, often in Rhode Island. Well, correction. When I started, they had different levels of EMT, basic EMT and intermediate, and then cardiac level. Now they've introduced a paramedic portion. I'm not sure how many paramedics are in Rhode Island, so that would be the top tier. But the EMT cardiacs that we have, they can administer drugs, start IVs, defibrillate, interpret rhythms on the cardiac monitor.
Wow.
And we have in Woonsocket years ago, we started with every one of our trucks is ALS certified. Now, whether or not the manpower on the truck is there, because we don't make it where there has to be an EMTC on every truck. But if there is one on any truck, this goes right down to all the engines and the ladder trucks. The equipment is there for that gentleman to use, or lady. We have some
What is ALS certified?
advanced life support.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that would be, if you want to go back to yesteryear, the show Emergency, when they first started, when they had the cardiac monitor, the defibrillator,
Yeah,
they had
the
the
paddles.
drug box. That would be the level that they do. So when our rescue trucks are busy, if we have to wait either for a truck to cross town to assist or an out-of-town truck to come in, our members are able to get the ball rolling, so to speak, and start administering care until the transportation vehicle gets there.
It's a lot more than I was imagining. You would just pick them up and rush them to the hospital.
Yeah, no, it's not that way anymore. And so sometimes, and I've gotten it when I was on the trucks, and I'm sure everybody, fire truck pulls up, somebody comes out. I didn't call for a fire truck. There's nothing on fire. I only wanted a rescue truck, but they don't understand.
Right, yeah.
Those are the three closest members of our department to them to come and assist, and they have the equipment and the skills to do just that until the transporting vehicle gets there.
Great.
Now, don't they have to provide a certain amount of time on scene?
It depends on what the situation is, but there are, going back to the what they used to call the scoop and run. You have somebody, they are ill enough or injured enough that you load them up and get going to the appropriate medical facility. Down to, they do have a standard now. If they're doing CPR, they have to stay 30 minutes on scene.
Yeah, that's what was
So
made.
they start the clock with the dispatcher, and the dispatcher will come over in certain intervals and tell them where they are, and then they can prepare for the transport and transport the person to the hospital. And the reason for that is studies have shown that, and we're getting out of my expertise if I have one, but studies have shown that they not stopping good CPR for a certain period of time makes the patient more viable than, CPR is stopped for carrying somebody down the stairs or moving. So the uninterrupted CPR is what they're looking for. So that's why they have that time standard for that.
October was Fire Prevention Month to switch gears a little bit. How did it go here in Woonsocket? Did you get to go out and go to elementary schools and do stuff like that?
We have an education team that is got a handful of firefighters on it. They go out to the schools and they have a lesson plan that they talk and they teach their lesson plan.
So good. So it went well.
I believe it did.
Okay. Things in Woonsocket in terms of fires, there hasn't been very many.
They had one the other night,
Yeah, that was one,
Saturday
though.
night.
Just one.
Right. Well,
We're coming into season.
I've never been able to base a particular season or
As worse than another. Okay.
Right. I don't go by full moons or anything like that.
You don't check your astrology chart?
Not at all. Not at all. But they had a pretty significant fire the other night that they made a good stop on.
All right. Well, that's great. Well, you got a very busy job and a tough job. It's something I wouldn't want to do, to try to going through all the rubble and trying to find looking. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Would you say it's that hard, that difficult looking for stuff?
It could be. There are signs,
Yeah.
burn patterns, and where you can find the original area of origin, or sometimes multiple areas of origin, and that's where the concentration usually
look,
put,
yeah.
yeah.
And do different accelerants leave a different color? Like, and I ask that because different fire, you know how fire can have
They could, or they
blue
burn,
whatever.
or they burn a different color.
So you look for that too, huh?
Accelerant, or you could call it accelerant, or a fuel.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned about the where there was a truck fire and it melted the siding.
Yeah.
So the plastics will burn different color, or even the colors are what they are.
Yeah.
But there'll be different colors for what is burning.
When you talk about the school education, though, you may not realize the impact it has. I can still remember seeing a fire prevention movie when I was in elementary school, and it was talking about wiring underneath a carpet or under a rug in a room, and showed how. I still think of that when I'm putting down rugs and stuff in the house, and it's like
And it
a
still
few
happens.
years back.
And it still happens.
but-
People are trying to prevent a trip hazard, and
Yeah.
they
And
end up
create
with a
another
fire hazard.
So, okay. Well, that'll do it for the show for today. We've run out of time. We thank you very much for listening in. And Lieutenant John Polacek from the Fire Marshal from the Woonsocket Fire Department, thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
All right.
Should be here.
Sue Tesser McKenzie from the Blackstone Valley Call and Times, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Have a great day. Have a good end of the week.
You as well. And Bob Lauder, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. Good to see all of you.
All
Thanks.
right. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do you remember is coming your way at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. A fire in a multifamily home in Pawtucket yesterday claimed the life of an elderly woman. The blaze broke out on Cole Street in the home around 10:30 yesterday morning in Pawtucket. Firefighters removed 3 people from the building, but the victim, described as being 83 years old and wheelchair-bound, died. Her name was not released to the press yet. The cause of the fire remains under